Okay, guys. All right, we ready? So, hey, thanks guys. The first thing I'm going to get you to write down in either the back of you can turn over and write it on the back of oh no, that one doesn't have the spell on. Put this into your English books for now, but this is what I'm saying you can write into your poetry booklet when you get it, or alright. So the first thing I want you to write down is this. You're going to write the definition here for this technique. Now I'll go make this a bit bigger so that you can see it, and tell me if you can't see it. I'm just going to also focus a bit better.
That's good, miss.
Is that good? And the focus is just going to go out for a moment as it does its thing. Alright, you may have heard of this technique before. It's synecdoche. And it is a technique that Eliot uses quite a bit in his poetry, and what it means is when a part of something is used to refer to its whole. Now I'll give you an example so that you understand.
Miss, I've got an example.
Oh good, yes.
From Father and Child. When
Yes.
they talk about the owl and the bundle, not bundle of stuff, but it was like talking about the owl as in beak and claw.
Exactly, that's a perfect example, yes. So beak and claw, and it was actually referring to the whole owl, not just the beak and the claw.
And they also did it with Othello, where characters would refer to him by his lips or...
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Alright, are we good?
We're good. Next one.
Okay, not yet. Oh. Okay, so. And listening guys, now this is where I need your focus. Okay? So, this is an epigraph. It is also intertextuality because it's taking from another text and directly placing it here. So, we are going to write epigraph. And we're going to write intertextuality. Now, this is from Dante's Inferno. So we add here from Dante's Inferno. I'm underlining it because it's in the title of the text. And it suggests that Prufrock is speaking from a private hell. But what we're going to write first is those three terms that I just spoke about. We're going to say 3 types of sin. The self-indulgent. The violent. And the malicious. Do we know what malicious means? Who knows what malicious means? Who can give me a definition? If I said to you, look, he really hurt the other kid, but it wasn't malicious. Yeah, it's to do with that notion of intent, and the malicious is always bad. So I think isn't there a horror movie called Malicious Intent? I feel like there is, or maybe that's a quote from something. But if you're malicious, you're deliberately seeking to hurt another person or thing, and that's your desired outcome. So you know how there's differences between murder and manslaughter? And murder has to be like it was planned and it was intended and you wanted the person to die, whereas manslaughter can be, it's accidental. So that idea of malicious goes in with that notion of murder, whereas manslaughter, they wouldn't say, well, it wasn't malicious because that wasn't the intent, okay? So that's what Dante said the 3 types of sin are: self-indulgent, violence, and malicious, intentionally wanting to hurt someone else. And it doesn't have to just be physical, it could be psychological harm. The next bit I want you to write is that this suggests, so this epigraph suggests that Eliot / Prufrock is speaking from a private hell. With poetry, we know that not all poetry is autobiographical, and you can't just assume that within a poem, the persona in the poem is actually the author. When we refer to the personas in Eliot's poetry, we often use the term flaneur, which is a flaneur is someone who is an observer, someone who is watching things as they go on and thinking about them. And it's a French term that refers to someone walking around the city streets looking at all the goings on. And the now it won't let me go. Oh, what's it doing here? Why is it doing that? What's that? Now let me see if it will let me. Maybe it will go here. Oh, why won't you let me do that? Okay, we're going to write down the definition of flaneur later because I just want to get on to this. Now, the reason I've got Eliot / Prufrock here in just this initial bit is because we do know that through his poetry, Eliot himself is journeying through his own struggles with his sense of self and identity and modernity and all those things that were going on. So for the rest of the poem, I'll refer to Prufrock, who is the character, the persona, the flaneur, but we know that there's so much wrapped in with Eliot's own exploration of himself within the poetry as well.
Miss, is Prufrock, did you just make that up, or?
Yeah, I've never heard it as referencing a particular person or anything. Yep. All right, so we start with, let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Ether was the drug used to put, make people go unconscious, to have an operation. So etherized is unable to move, unconscious, not having any control. So what we're going to write is, there's a few things we're going to write, so just write the things as I write them here for you, because it's can be a bit confusing otherwise. The first thing before we write about the ether is we've got here this deliberate subversion from the love song of J. Prufrock, and I think I mentioned this the other day when we were looking at romanticism and the idea that the poetry that came, especially in the 100 years prior to this being written, there was a lot of that beautiful love song. Think about the daffodils in the Wordsworth poem. So people who are not used to this type of poetry yet, and certainly people in Eliot's context were not, were set up to believe that they were about to read a lovely love poem, okay? And he starts with what we think might be this love poem. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky. And then this is unsettling and disturbing imagery of a patient etherized upon a table. There are other disturbing images when he talks about when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, and it's later on in the poem, and he refers to getting an insect whilst it's still alive, like a butterfly. People used to collect them and then place it onto a board and stick a pin through it to keep it there because that was their specimen, but it would be alive initially, and so wriggling, and then obviously it would die. And so it's meant to be this unsettling imagery. So the first being this patient etherized upon a table. So we've got this immediate subversion. So in terms of what you're going to write, we're going to place it up here, okay? Even though it's these two lines that I'm talking about, we're putting it up here with the title. And we are writing Eliot sets us up to expect a love song through the title and the opening 2 lines. The third line subverts this expectation with disturbing imagery this is Eliot's rejection of romanticism. This is Eliot's rejection of romanticism. Okay, let us go then. We have an invitation here, this collective the use of let us go then you and I, the reader is immediately brought in with this this invitation when the evening is spread out against the sky, and this I and sky rhyme, don't they? Yes? What do we call it when we have a nice little 2-line rhyme here? Yes, who got that? Good job. Rhyming couplet.
And they're used in Shakespearean sonnets, aren't they, Miss?
All the time.
They're about love.
Yes, so it links in with this idea of a romantic, lovely, lyrical poem.
Next
So,
time check, this might need to be the last one.
yeah. Alright, so this last one, you're just writing rhyming couplet, Shakespeare's sonnets, allusion. So it's alluding to Shakespeare's sonnets, it's alluding to romanticism, it's setting up our expectations.
This is 14 lines. 14 lines like this. And there's 4 portraits on it.
Alright, thank you very much, guys. We have, oh, sorry.
Oh, actually, this is my favorite.
There's people. I'd be a lot of